Welcome to an engrossing journey through the mysterious and turbulent land of Gaza, viewers. We explore the core of the issue in this compelling video. What life is like for people living there and why this is happening now. Get ready for an exciting journey as we solve the mystery of Gaza's everyday life, revealing the hardships, blockades, and unexpected incidents that have brought this small region to the attention of the world. A captivating story that will pique your interest from beginning to end awaits you. The Enigma of Gaza. An open-air prison. Gaza, sometimes called an open-air prison, captures a bewildering story of suffering and resilience within its restricted boundaries. With 2 million residents, half of whom are children, it is one of the world's most densely populated areas, despite only measuring 40 kilometers by 10 kilometers. The phrase open-air prison accurately describes the difficulties that inmates endure, emphasizing the limitations placed on their freedom of movement, their lack of access to basic amenities, and their general feeling of loneliness. The inhabitants of this little area struggle with the effects of walled borders, blockades by Israel and Egypt, and a life plagued by the constant hum of drones overhead. Life is a delicate waltz between survival and hopelessness. This topic attempts to peel back the layers of Gaza's mystery, illuminating the intricate interactions between geopolitical forces and the day-to-day hardships of Palestinians trying to make ends meet while living in this densely populated strip of territory that seems to be trapped in time. The Fortress of Gaza, borders, blockades, and isolation. Gaza is a stronghold in the middle of the Middle East, encircled by strong political and physical obstacles. This little strip of land is surrounded by borders that are strictly regulated by Egypt and Israel, which gives its 2 million residents a sense of isolation that permeates their daily existence. The towering walls serve as harsh reminders of restricted access, restricting mobility, and imprisoning Gazans in their small area. A history of blockades and Israel's harsh limitations on sea and air travel have further tightened the grip, turning Gaza into what some have called an open-air prison. Even fishermen who depend on the Mediterranean for their food discover that their ability to make a living is limited by outside factors. The only entrances to the outside world are the Erez and Rafah crossings, which are strictly controlled by Egypt and Israel, worsening the isolation. These restrictions have been made more severe by recent increases in conflict, which have also resulted in airstrikes on crucial lifelines, like the Rafah crossing and the Erez crossing, cutting off vital routes to neighboring areas. A complex image of life inside Gaza's fortress is painted by the difficulties Gazans face, including shortages, interrupted access to power and water, and a sense of imprisonment that transcends physical bounds. Tunneling through desperation. The underground lifeline. Deeply interlaced beneath the surface, a secret system of tunnels appears as a lifeline at the center of Gaza's troubles. Once designed as commerce routes, these underground corridors have become essential for surviving and overcoming the harsh reality of blockades. Gazans depend on these tunnels to keep a lifeline of communication open with the outside world, as well as to smuggle in necessities like food and medicine, despite their extreme despair. These subterranean tunnels, which were first created as a means of overcoming the territory's economic limitations, have developed into a sophisticated network that offers a lifeline and resilience in the face of hardship. Once just used as transportation routes, tunnels now represent the tenacity and inventiveness of a people overcoming extraordinary obstacles, embodying the indomitable spirit that persists beneath the surface of their struggles. Gaza's economic quandary, unemployment, poverty, and dependency. Gaza is caught up in a complex economic situation that is marked by extreme poverty, high unemployment, and an excessive reliance on humanitarian aid. The lack of employment prospects negatively impacts the territory's economic landscape, as about 50% of its population struggles to make ends meet. Even though they are essential, traditional industries like farming, fishing, and construction find it difficult to create long-term jobs. The protracted siege and the unemployment crisis force over 80% of Gaza's citizens to depend on humanitarian aid to meet their basic requirements. The rate of poverty has increased dramatically, rising above 60% as a result of the severe economic conditions. Gaza had to deal with economic isolation and restricted access to markets and resources because of its geopolitical limitations, even before the latest escalation. Since a durable solution is essential for both the population's well-being and the promotion of regional stability, the UN highlights how urgent it is to address Gaza's economic predicament. Gaza's economic mystery, which is closely related to political and humanitarian aspects, highlights the intricacy of the difficulties that its tenacious residents must overcome. The United Nations plea, lifting the blockade. The United Nations is making a frantic appeal to relieve the oppressive closure on Gaza, and its voice can be heard in the turbulent corridors of world diplomacy. As the humanitarian catastrophe inside its borders worsens, the UN is pressing for a change in the current situation. Gaza's 2 million inhabitants are far worse off due to severe shortages of basic necessities brought on by the embargo that has been in place for the last 16 years. As a result of the blockade, which hinders access to essential products and services, as well as UN humanitarian relief efforts, an astounding 80% of the population is dependent on outside help. The United Nations highlights the urgent need for the international community to step in as tensions rise, emphasizing that removing the blockade is a critical step in preventing a humanitarian disaster. The appeal emphasizes how serious the situation is and calls for allies to put Gaza's residents' needs first and cooperate to lessen the pain caused by the ongoing embargo. The UN emphasizes the global community's shared duty in resolving the Gaza situation while searching for a way to provide humanitarian help in the midst of such hardship. Conflict unveiled. The unpredictable escalation in 2023. The unsettling tapestry of events that took the world by surprise is revealed in Conflict Unveiled. The unpredictable escalation in 2023. 2023 turned out to be a turbulent year, characterized by an unparalleled increase in bloodshed in Gaza, despite hopes for regional tranquility. The confrontations reached a level of severity not seen in years as Israel, led by its hardline government, faced off against Hamas, the militant organization that took control of the country in 2007. The scope and ferocity of Hamas's attacks stunned the world community and rocked the foundations of the area. The fighting took an unexpectedly violent turn, even with Israel's military and intelligence capabilities improving. Long-standing geopolitical tensions, fruitless diplomacy, and difficult living conditions in Gaza all contributed to the escalation. The United Nations raised concerns about the humanitarian crisis that was developing as the world saw hundreds of airstrikes bombard Gaza in retaliation for Hamas's heinous attack. As assumptions about the direction of peace in the region were questioned, the question why now reverberated throughout the world. Unforeseen events in 2023 broke hopes for calm, leaving the globe to deal with the grim reality of a conflict that is intensifying in the Middle East. The unsettling chessboard, Israel, Hamas, and the international impasse. The Israel-Hamas conflict is like a chessboard with moving pieces that have geopolitical weight and intricate local dynamics. Israel, under the leadership of its most conservative coalition, faces Hamas, a terrorist organization that seized control of Gaza in 2007. Even though the West has labeled Hamas as a terrorist organization, Iran and some other Middle Eastern militant groups continue to assist the organization. Gaza's non-democratic nature is highlighted by the absence of free and fair elections for more than 15 years, and activists are frequently arrested for protest. International tensions have increased as a result of the prolonged conflict, exposing a convoluted web of alliances and viewpoints. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, promises mighty vengeance as the world community struggles to come to a consensus. As international powers negotiate the complexities of a conflict characterized by long-standing grievances, complex political dynamics, and the predicament of individuals caught in the crossfire, the region comes under increased attention. The chessboard is still unresolved, which reflects the difficulties in coming to an understanding and finding a solution in a complex, deeply ingrained dispute. The precarious future, humanitarian crisis, and unanswered questions. The future of the land is unstable in the wake of the recent events in Gaza, trapped in a crossfire of geopolitical tensions. The ongoing siege is making matters worse for Gazans, who are already struggling with acute shortages of basic supplies. This is contributing to the humanitarian situation. Israel has launched thousands of airstrikes in a short period of time, making the UN's need for humanitarian access more urgent than ever. The future of Gazans is unknown as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatens mighty vengeance as the region is on the verge of a total power shift. As the international community struggles to answer the critical issue, can such a severe military operation truly pave the way for a sustainable resolution, or will it plunge Gaza into deeper despair? There is a real risk of a massive humanitarian and economic crisis. There are still unresolved issues that cast doubt on the effectiveness of the failed negotiations, the effects of hardline politics, and the difficult living conditions that led Gaza to this precarious situation. The fragile balance between optimism and despair is being watched by the entire world, leaving Gazans and observers from across the world with a frightening sense of uncertainty about what lies next for this troubled territory. We trust that after this insightful tour through Gaza's reality, you will have a better grasp of the difficulties that the city's tenacious residents must overcome. If you feel that this video has helped you see things differently, please show your support by giving it a like, subscribing to our channel, and telling your friends about this important information. Your participation raises awareness and encourages a group discussion on important problems. We appreciate your participation in this exploration. Until next time, continue to learn and participate.